I've been thinking about this question for a while and don't have a direct answer to it, but I'd like to brainstorm along with you guys. I've tried to get into the habit of being creative in the past as well. During that process, I felt like there was a thin line between looking at creativity as a chore that needs to be done to check off your list, and then there have been times where the act of doing something has led me to moments of flow where I feel at one with my inner self and hopefully brimming with creativity. But there has always been this elusiveness attached to it. I can never pinpoint and be like, this is where I felt creative, and this is where I felt like I was forcing myself to do a mundane task hoping I could build my creative muscle. Is that even a thing? Can you build your creative muscle? Maybe you can. Who knows? I've been trying to decode this question of how to be creative and share a step by step plan. The twist being, I don't know how it works as of now, how it shows up in our lives when we least expect it to. You know how there are systems in place on how to get fit and get rich, but what about creativity? Is there any way to follow a procedure and gain specific results just like you do in a lab? The lab analogy also makes me think of the fact that we don't always know if there will be a positive result in the end. Maybe that's how creativity works as well. It's a form of experimentation, self exploration. Sometimes it brings the results you were looking for, and sometimes the hypothesis turns out to be incorrect. But you need to keep testing regularly, regardless of those results. Who knows what might show up? That's also what I love about the whole creative process. You end up going into it with an idea to play with. There's no guarantee or means to measure how closer you got to producing something creative, but you at least exposed yourself to a different possibility. Maybe creativity isn't just about random bursts of innovative ideas, but exposing yourself to multiple scenarios that ignite a creative response out of you. It could be a healthy mix of both, which means we don't need to always wait around for the right idea to arrive into our lives, but actively seek out interesting projects, inspirations, and people because you never know what that could do for you and your creativity. That's all that I've written in my journal entry for this particular question. But just to expand a bit further on that, I know this seems like something that has been said over and over, and like seek inspiration, learn from people, or give yourself the time to be bored and something creative will be born out of it all. But I could never really piece it all together unless I found it showing up in my life. So now that I have some very faint results where I feel in a state of flow, and I can be like, okay, maybe this is what the act of creation feels like. I can put words to it and justify it in my brain further. And I will talk about the step by step plan in the next episode because after writing this, I could think of a few ways to systemize this whole thing and not feel like it's difficult to achieve. I'm sorry, my mom called midway and I lost track of what I was talking about. But I think it was mainly on the lines of being new to a creative process and how to go about it, and how I am going to touch upon it in the next episode as well. But just to let you know that it's not out of reach and it's not as magnificent as it seems. You can definitely adopt it and make it a regular part of your life, which is what I would want from everyone listening to this. If you are not doing it already, at least give it a try and start with something as simple as recording your thoughts or ideas the moment you get them. And that's how I started. I don't know if it's going well, but I like sharing it somewhere. I like recording it all in a place. And even if it is not 100% perfect, even 10%, if I feel like I made or I'm giving out even 10% of the value, it is worth it for me to keep showing up and trying it out. And I also feel really good while performing this whole process. So why not? Yeah, I guess that's it for today's episode. If you made this far, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.